What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. As you can see by the title of this video, I am back discussing episode 4 of the brand new Apple TV Plus sci-fi drama by the name of Invasion. I wasn't too hot on the first 3 episodes. Did episode 4 pick things up and turn things around? Well, we're breaking it all down here in this spoiler review, but before we dive into it all, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you all enjoyed this spoiler review of episode 4 of Invasion, well, make sure to like and share the review. It helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciates the support. And in those comments, if you took the risk like I did to watch this 4th episode, let me know your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories of what you hope to see for the rest of this season, and let's talk about it in the comments. So as you all may have watched my review last week, as I said in that review, as you can see from this clip here, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have any development. The stories that they're giving us isn't that compelling, and I just do not care, which brings me to my last point. I don't think I'm going to be watching this show after that 3rd episode, man. There's not enough meat on the bone. So I wasn't too excited for the rest of the show, but as I said a little bit later on in the review, I'll just play another little quick clip for you all. To this point, there's not enough there for me personally. I'm probably going to watch the 4th episode just to see if things kind of turn on its head, if the action picks up, the sci-fi picks up. But based on these 3 episodes, well, let's see if this 4th episode had a little bit more intrigue, if things picked up as I said. And let's just start off. Again, this is a full spoiler review, just my quick initial thoughts. Man, this show is boring. This 4th episode is the exact same as the 3rd episode. And number one, let me go ahead and rewind a little bit. I want to appreciate and thank you all that watched my episode 1 through 3 review that I dropped last week. So many comments. People were really engaged in the video. A lot of people were like me. They didn't find the show to be all that intriguing. There were a lot of other people that really are digging the show, liking the slow build, liking the family drama and all that. So again, I want to appreciate every single one of you all. And like I said in the last week, I was going to give it one more episode, and again, it dropped the ball for me. We're going to break it all down here in a bit, but I just think it boils down to, and this isn't a knock on for you all that do enjoy the characters and the development, I don't care. I just don't care about the characters. I personally don't think there has been any development from episodes 1 to this point of the show. The only character that's somewhat changed from the first time we met him from episode 2 with the little kid in London. I believe his name is Casper. At least by the end of this episode, he is standing up to the bully. He's, being a leader, as we know he wasn't in the first 2 episodes that we met him. So he's the only character right now that I can say has had a somewhat of an arc. Everyone else is just stagnant. Everyone else is just reacting to Aneesha and her family, the army guy, the astronaut loving situation. It's just like it's moving at such a slow pace. I just don't really care. But listen, if you enjoy it, I'm so happy for you. We're going to break down this 4th episode, starting off with the opening. I want to kind of just break this video down with like each plot. We got 4 plots, 4 characters. Let's start out with the opening plot, which is the kids, as we open up with them learning that the teacher has died. And the kids are just kind of like upset about it, obviously, because he was the adult on the ride, and they just obviously need adult supervision, especially with the little bully ruling them around. So at that point, opening up the show, again, not to be heartless, but I didn't really care if the guy lived or died, because it's just like we really didn't really meet the character. Based on the 2nd episode, I thought that he was going to maybe be an integral part of the show, just like Sam Neill, which he is yet again to not appear in this 4th episode. But neither here nor there. I just got to say it. I'm so sick of these kids. I don't have any like connection to these kids at all. I'm not trying to be morbid. I don't care if these kids live or die. But I will say in this first opening sequence, it's Casper having this conversation with the bully who calls him out in front of all the other kids regarding the story that Casper told him in episode 2 about his dad pushing his mom down the stairs and how he didn't do anything. Well, that sparked Casper to become Spider-Man and climb up this wall and encourages the other kids to do the same thing. And it's funny I say Spider-Man because I didn't mention it in my review last week, but the kid that plays the bully, which I think his name is Monty, he is the brother of Spider-Man, Tom Holland. He's the youngest brother of Spider-Man. I believe his name is Patty Holland. So it's very funny. He's like the Flash Thompson of the situation, bullying all these kids. But either way, we wrap up that plot with them inevitably climbing. Again, it took them a full day to have the encouragement of the idea to climb. And again, I didn't know all these kids were rock climbers, but they they climb up the cliff or whatever. They come across the crash site. It's in the moment where Casper, the girl that likes Casper, vice versa, he likes her, they like each other. She says, "Oh, it wasn't your fault. There's, this debris from the sky." And then we see Casper look into his drawing book and knows that he's writing in Russian. And he's like, "Oh, this might be a Russian spacecraft," whatever the case may be. But it wasn't his fault. So that was good for him because he thought that his disability was the reason why they crashed off the side of the road. But we wrap up that plot with the kids and, most importantly, Casper sticking up to Monty. "I'm not going to take your shit anymore. We're walking home. You and your bums can stay here, but me and the rest of the crew, we're going to go back home and try to figure this out." So the bully is inevitably left alone, and he eventually tags along. So I would imagine they're on the road to they're going to solve everything. The way that this show is going to go and the stupidity of the show, the kids are going to probably figure out more stuff than the adults and the experts of this situation. But they're on the road to their way back home, which I don't know where they are. I don't know. This is the thing that frustrates me about this show. What's going on in the world? Like, is there an invasion going on right now? Is there a reason why no one's looking for them? I'm assuming that, yes, there's an invasion and there's aliens taking people, kidnapping people, making demands, and that's why no one's looking for these kids. But I have to come up with assumptions because the show has yet to say what is the state of the world and why these kids are left on the road by themselves. I assume they're maybe going to come across other people that may want to help them, that may want to do bad against them. Of course, the bully's going to have some type of arc. I could imagine he's going to maybe help Casper. Casper's going to help him. They're going to be the best of friends. We'll see, but I could care less. But moving on to Aneesha, which it seems like a lot of people in last week's comments really have gravitated to her story. And I have to say, I like the actress. I think that's the reason that I think a lot of people are resonating with their story, because I think that's the best acting out of the entire show. But as we see, and I can't stand her husband. I wish that she left her husband back at home. They're in the hotel. He's still checking his phone with his side piece, and we find out in this scene that she hasn't been responding to any of his text messages. Are you safe? Are you okay? Where are you at? This, that, and the other. And Aneesha obviously sees that, he's doing that. They make their way out of the hotel room. The husband, who out of this entire time we've been following him, he's been super quiet. He's been he's actually kind of sloppy with his side piece. Like, he's calling his girlfriend or wherever she is in the house in episode 2. It's like he's very sloppy with all this. But sloppy, he leaves the phone inside the car while he's talking to the soldiers. Aneesha takes it upon herself to open up his phone, look through the text messages, and she finds photos. In the photos she finds is of a baby, sonogram, ultrasound, and she, again, mind you, we're in the middle. First off, I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're headed to. They're just driving just to drive. All this going on, her thing, she's still, and I understand, it's her family, but all this stuff. But to me, I'm more concerned about my children. I'm more concerned about being where I need to be. Put all this domestic shit aside. We need to protect our family. She locks her door, unlocks her door. She addresses him on the road about baby names. I'm just like, this is so stupid to me. Again, what's going on in the world? Is that the first thing that comes to your mind, is who you've been sleeping with? What's the name of the baby? Like, this is just so silly writing to me, and I just don't care. But they have a conversation. A little boy, Luke, I think his name is, he has to use the restroom. She lets him go out, and all of a sudden he disappears. Which, actually, let me rewind a little bit. Luke has a conversation with his sister in the bathroom, and he has this random artifact or random mysterious piece of object, which I assume is attached to the aliens, which connects to episode 1 and 2, where we know that little boy, he didn't get a nosebleed. He also was able to, he was communicating with the aliens when that high, ultra loud sonic sound. He was the only one that can hear that. So there's something going on with Luke. He's somehow attached to the aliens, but we don't know quite yet because the show doesn't care about this. I don't know why they call it the show Invasion, which there have been 1 or 2 little scenes of aliens, but either here nor there, he has that piece. He gets lost in the forest. They spend their whole plot is looking for the little kid throughout the forest. They inevitably come across this random house in the woods. This family has a kid. They're welcoming them in. It seems like that family's a little bit weird because the camera angle made it seem like there's something going on with this family. So they're going to be there. I assume, again, there's something weird with the family. There's obviously something going on with the kid. There's obviously still the stuff with Aneesha and her husband, which is just This is just so boring. Is the girlfriend, is she okay? Is the baby okay that she's having? I don't really care, but let me know what you all think about. More importantly, the biggest thing of that plot, besides Aneesha being the best actress on the show, what's the connection with the little kid? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. We move on to the soldier, Mr. Ward, as he has his guide, finds his goats, but on the way of finding the goats, he has his beacon that shows him that he's close to finding his men. We see that his beacon takes him to an occupied hospital, which he makes his way to the basement. He comes across one of his men whose leg is wounded. He's on the verge of death. And by the way, that soldier Trevante is just, the actor's fine, but it's kind of annoying the way he's treating everyone. I know he's in a hostile area. I'm not a soldier. He's in Afghanistan. He's in a foreign area, but it's just like the only lines he had in this episode was the F word. He kept saying, "What the F are you doing? What the F is this? What the F is this? F." That's the only lines of dialogue he had this entire episode before he was talking to his soldier. He finds him. We see that the people are looking for them. He takes out two of the soldiers, one of the people. One of the people that's looking for our main character gets scooped up by the alien as Mr. Ward and his companion are walking out of the building. The show pans on this door, which seems to have some type of symbols that may connect to the aliens. Who knows? Out of the entire show, that's the only place that we've literally seen like the aliens. We saw the alien scoop up the guy. We saw in episode 2 with the big alien thing scooping up half of Ward's men. So there's something going on in Afghanistan with the aliens. There's some type of connection. Let me know what you all think is the correlation there. Again, I don't really care. Moving on to the final plot, the last plot of the story, as we move on to the astronaut and her story, we see that she is talking to her superiors. They believe there's a glitch in the system. They believe that there was space junk that took out the astronauts in space, and they fire her, and she wants to meet with her father to give her father, just her condolences and whatnot. So she pays a visit to him, and most of their conversation, we as the audience are supposed to assume that he's some old school, bigotry. He doesn't like, the LGBTQ. He doesn't like that his daughter was gay, but we end up finding out that that's the complete opposite. He actually wanted his daughter to come out and be who she wants to be. Instead, that she wanted to keep her secret, married the man, and that's where their beef came about. So that was interesting, the way they kind of handled that, kind of played against expectations or the stereotype that we would think. So after she finds it out, she kind of opens up to him. She gives her the comms, the message that she got. He plays it on his surround sound. It's vibrating in the house, and he asks her, does a JSA have a bigger speaker? Assuming that there's probably a signal that they can decode the message that her girlfriend left before she died. So yeah, that's the episode, ladies and gentlemen. A whole bunch of nothing in my eyes. Again, I'm not coming at anyone out there that's really engaged, is really invested. I'm just not at all invested. I don't feel like there's been much development at all in these first four episodes, besides the little kid being scared to being a leader. That's the only character. Everyone else, Aneesha, is just more concerned about her husband's infidelity versus her, even the safety of her kids, and not knowing where she's going and just walking into a random stranger's house. I think that's very irresponsible for a parent, just to take, the goodwill of someone you just met. We have the stuff going on with the astronaut story, which is very slow, but I assume that's going to be the meat and the potatoes of obviously out of all the stories, they're connected to space. So they're going to probably have some type of inklings, which again, I don't know if Tokyo's under attack. I don't know if London's under attack. I don't really know if anywhere in the US has been under attack. We're just seeing a bunch of people running around based on electricity going out, birds coming to small towns, and that's about it. The show is called Invasion, but we have yet to see a full-on invasion take place. I understand the show's purpose is doing like the Jaws approach, where it's just like, we're not going to show you the aliens, we're not going to show you the invasion. Instead, focus on this domestic situation of an affair. Instead, watch these kids become adults overnight. Let's watch this astronaut figure out what's going on. It's just like, I really don't care. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I gave it another episode, and it did not impress me. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the episode. Let me know yours. Again, even if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. That's why I make these videos, to interact with you all. But if you like me and feel like this show hasn't really anywhere, let me know your thoughts on that. If you're the complete opposite, you love the story, you have thoughts theories, predictions on what you hope to see, go ahead and share those in the comments below. I think I'm going to wipe my hands clean of this show. Apple TV is still one of my favorite platforms out there. I wasn't a fan of Lisey's story. They have some stinkers, but they have more hits than misses to me. And this right now, after 4 episodes, is a complete miss, at least for my sensibilities. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you stuck around to this point in the review, I appreciate you. Before you leave, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of my other future reviews. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe, as you can see on the screen now. Subscribe to my channel. Check out my other content. We'll see you on the next video.